Hi, my name is Daron Bartlett, and I love discussing current affairs on the African continent. All you have to do is subscribe so that you don't miss out a daily story that I think has made news the previous day or today. Now, yesterday, I made a story about DRC and the M23 exchanging their drafts, their peace drafts. I mean, these are documents they're supposed to look at and say, maybe we agree with this, we don't agree with this, and this is what we expect when we sign a peace deal, and just the details of how the two are going to live in harmony in the same country since they are within the borders of DRC. Similar to the peace deal that was signed way back as far as in the 2012s there. But yesterday, something that is a little bit worrying and scary to the peace deal happened because the M23 decided to walk away, because the spokesperson of the M23, Lawrence, actually confirmed to the BBC in Africa here and say the ceasefire agreements that the two parties had from way back was actually being violated by the DRC army. That the DRC army continued to assault M23 territories and where they're being basic in many times, and yet the government of DRC also denies and says, but instead it is the M23 that has been launching assaults on the people and more territory in DRC. That is just enough to complicate everything when it comes to the two people, because now it looks like we are back to where it all began from agreeing from a ceasefire to again disagreeing to it, maybe violating it, and a couple of things that have been happening. So Qatar had made strides to put together these two parties and bring peace back to the eastern part of Congo. But now it looks like it's all going to go into thin air. However, the parties that are involved have not expressed a likelihood of they will not come back to the table. I think that the talks might continue because Qatar has done a very good job right from Rwanda and DRC, and then the first meeting that the M23 had with Congo in Qatar. I think that made progress. However, it's now on that test of whether the ceasefire has been broken by both, and because who alleges must prove anyway, but also if indeed it has been happening, then what is going to be the solution for the two parties to come back together on the same table so that they can return peace in the eastern part of Congo? Let's see what is going to happen today, because this peace deal was actually supposed to have been signed yesterday. They had exchanged documents by Sunday, and we thought that the peace deal 18th of August should be it. But now it looks like we might have to stretch a little bit further. By the time parties don't appear in an important meeting like that, then something needs to be looked at. My name is Darren, and I will see you in the next story.